Welcome to our meeting and our September 30th meeting. And we have a gentleman tonight, David Jacks, is it? David Jacks, from the Census Bureau is going to put a brief presentation on about the upcoming census. So if we could have your attention, I'd appreciate it. Go ahead, David.
As the supervisor said, I'm David Jacks. I'm a partnership specialist and a Wheatfield resident, and I work for the New York Regional Office. The purpose and mission of the census is to serve as the nation's leading provider of quality data, and we do surveys of population and housing and disseminate the results. Our motto is count everyone once, only once, and in the right place. The Census Bureau is the largest statistical agency in the United States. We currently have 130 surveys and programs going on for demographic and economic programming. The census is mandated by Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution. A census has been conducted every 10 years since 1790, the years that end in 0. We're to count every resident in the United States where they live and sleep most of the time. The use of the census information to determine the number of seats for the U.S. House of Representatives, define congressional and state legislative districts, etc., and determine how, this is what's important here, $675 billion in federal funds is divvied out for infrastructure programs and services for local communities. Your information is protected when you do your census questionnaire. We are covered by Federal Code Title 13. The personal information that's collected cannot be shared, and Census Bureau employees are sworn to protect your information. The design of the 2020 census is right now we're doing address canvassing, establishing where people are to be counted. As a partnership specialist, my job is to motivate folks to want to respond, and then next spring, with the target date of the 1st of April, we'll count the population, and then later in the year, release the results.
We've got our address specialist sitting in the back row there.
If somebody doesn't know English or has challenges, we can assist them. Notice this also includes American Sign Language, Braille, and large print. Here's a spectrum of languages we have, including American Sign Language. Here's kind of a roadmap ahead for the census. Here in New York, well, across the country for that matter, field offices are opening. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Advertising will begin in early 2020. And the census day is April 1st. Just a point of order, when you get your census questionnaire starting the second week of March, you can go ahead and fill it out at that time. We're currently hiring for positions, and there's information on the table right here that discusses that. The ones with the asterisks, you can apply for those positions at 2020census.gov/jobs. Other positions, such as my own partnership specialist program, is at usajobs.gov. Here's New York State and how it's divided up. There's downstate, and we're currently getting offices set up in Syracuse, Rochester, and here in Buffalo. The offices are inward facing. The public is not going in there. They're only to support the field workers, including the enumerators, that if a census questionnaire is not filled out, they'll come to your house and ask you to fill it out, take 5 minutes on their iPad and get it filled out. Here's the census environment. One of the challenges is finding out where folks are at. The circle to the, if you look at the screen, the side there, informal living arrangements, couch surfers, but we want to make sure that everybody is counted in the United States. And to do that, we need your trusted voices. You all, community leaders, and the folks that care about your community that are sitting here, we need you to go out and tell your friends and family that the census is important, and it'll help our local community by making sure federal funds come to us based on the population we have. Our partners include all those folks. One I'll point out would be libraries. If somebody doesn't have a home computer, if you'll remember, to apply for the some of the census jobs, you have to go to a website. And if somebody doesn't have a computer, they could go to a library, and the library will accommodate them. Please let me know, and we can make arrangements to help them get their 15 to 20-minute job application filled out. Here's partnership initiatives. I'll talk about complete count committees in a few minutes. And then how we support our partners. It's content. I've got posters, flyers right here. If you want to put something on your website, you can drop that in there. You know, if you want me to speak at other events, I can do that. And here's other examples of partner activities that you can do with me providing some assistance. Complete count committees. It's government and community leaders, but it really could be just any of you that decide that, you know, I like to get together and make sure that everybody I know gets counted, and I can help you do that. And for a big complete count committee, such as Buffalo Erie County, they would have subcommittees. Obviously, if you're just a bunch of folks who get together and want to have a complete count committee, you don't have subcommittees. And here's activities that the complete count committees can be involved with. One of the things that is done when you do your census questionnaire is you can go into a database called ROAM. It's census.gov/ROAM, and it's a wealth of information. It's all your information. The example that's up there is a census tract in the east part of Buffalo. Another reason why we have the partnership program is to get the low count to be lower. Okay, here in Wheatfield, we're in the low teens. One tract is like 13, and another is like 15% instead of 32% or so for that tract in East Buffalo. The darker the color, the higher the probability that there'll be less people that respond to their census questionnaire. This data is yours. It's taxpayer money paid for it to be collected, and you can go in and access it. As I've been a partnership specialist, I've talked with people that use that data to get a master's degree, or you could use it to write grants, because you can find out what the demographics of that given area are right at your fingertips. And you can stay in touch with us on social media, or at 2020census.gov, or you can contact the partnership program at the regional center, or if you want to get in touch with me, I'll leave some cards here, and you can get back in touch with me, send me an email, and that concludes my presentation.
You did mention that jobs you anticipate, like in the Wheatfield area, you're going to need helpers or
well,
applicants?
they haven't told us how many in given areas, and I don't think they really know that, but it's going to be in the thousands here in western New York, in the Erie County area.
Okay.
So these are primarily enumerators that they'll get paid $17 an hour, and they stay in their neighborhoods generally, but if they have to go to another area, you get paid 58 cents a mile to drive your car there. And if there's any reimbursables, like toll on the freeway, like say you get sent to Grand Island, $2 toll to go across the bridge, that would be paid. Or if there's a parking fee, or if you don't have a car and you use NFPA public transit, your fares right on the bus can be reimbursed.
Anyone else have questions for David? Gentlemen? David, thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Okay. You want a few minutes to